How we doing this Sunday evening, Big Orange Nation? This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Sports Channel. Of course, it's been a big weekend for Tennessee football as Tennessee beat Alabama last night 24-17. They got a commitment from a high priority offensive line target out of Georgia for 2026. I dropped videos on both of those today. And basketball is basically 1 week away. 1 week from today, Tennessee plays Indiana in an exhibition game at Thompson Bowling Arena. That's next Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern time. That will be on SEC Network Plus. If you watch through an app or anything, if you have a login that gets you the SEC Network, you should be able to get the SEC Network Plus as well. I know if you have ESPN Plus, you can get that as well. It'll be a good test for this team as Indiana is ranked 17th in the AP poll. Tennessee, of course, is ranked 12th, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Share this content out if you know someone who has not come across the channel up to this point. And make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. As I'm telling you, this thing is really about to pick up on this channel with, of course, football's in full gear. Basketball's just around the corner. Lady Vols basketball as well. We're going to do a lot on here with basketball and Lady Vols basketball. I promise you that. But Tennessee did scrimmage Davidson today in Knoxville. It wasn't open to the public. It was a closed-door scrimmage. I've not gotten much on it, and I don't know how much is on. I ran across something where somebody said they thought Tennessee won like 74-48 in the scrimmage. I don't know. I only saw like one post. I've seen a couple of posters on. I've seen one on VolQuest board saying that Chaz Lanier had a day. That's all I've seen so far. I have seen nothing else on it. And I've been trying to look through different places, different websites to find something. And there was nothing, again, because it was closed to the public. So it would have had to have been someone close to the team who maybe let something out. But it doesn't appear there's much there. But this team going into the year, I asked the question on this video, is this the year for Rick Barnes in Tennessee? If you followed along with me along the way, going back to last season, when I started this channel on January the 1st, 2024, I went heavily into basketball. Live games, live post-game shows, lots of videos talking about that team. This guy right here was the Portal King on YouTube. Now, do I have the inside scoop on it? No, I don't. I read different places, put two and two together on it. I told you the whole time Chaz Lanier was coming to Tennessee. It happened. Chaz Lanier was here. What Rick Barnes and this team did in the portal was really good. Really good. I like the makeup of this team for this year. Tennessee comes in, first of all, previewing. The AP has them at number 12. The Ken Palm rankings. If you followed along with me last year, I used the Ken Palm rankings a lot. I like them because they're very diverse in terms of what all they have. Of course, they have the net ranking, the offensive rating, defensive rating. They factor in like a team's luck. They factor in their strength of schedule. They factor in the strength of schedule, offense, and defensive rating of their teams they're playing as well. I really like this. It's a more advanced metric. And there's some other ones that's a little more detailed, but these are the main ones I look at. According to Ken Palm, they have Tennessee at 13th. They have their offensive rating. They're predicting them to have the 35th best offense and the 4th best defense in the country, behind Houston, behind Iowa State, and behind Duke. They've got Tennessee at 4th on that 35th. Of course, they've got Alabama number 1. We saw how that Alabama offense did against that Tennessee defense in basketball last year. Alabama rated number 1 or close to the top in offense the whole year. Guess what happened when they played Tennessee? It's kind of like yesterday. That offense got shut down. So Alabama is, depending on what you look at, the AP has them preseason number 2. Alabama is picked preseason win the SEC. Auburn was picked 2nd. Tennessee was picked 3rd in the preseason rankings. So, it's in Auburn. Let's see, Alabama 2nd in the AP poll. Auburn is 11th, 1 spot ahead of Tennessee. And then, looking at the schedule this year, because I don't think there's the 2. Let me just double check on it. I don't think there's the 2 meetings in it this time. Tennessee plays at Auburn January 25th. They play Kentucky twice. They do play Vanderbilt twice. And let's see, they play Alabama in Thompson Bowling on March the 1st, and that's it. So the only 2 teams they play twice is Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Everybody else they play one time this year. And looking at Tennessee's schedule, it's not really, in terms of rankings, a difficult non-conference schedule. The best team I see on it is a potential matchup in the Bahamas with Baylor, as they'll play in the Bahamas the week before Thanksgiving. They will play on that day. Let's see, they play Virginia November 21st. Of course, Virginia's coach just retired this week, Tony Bennett. And then if Tennessee wins that game on Thursday, they'll play either Baylor or St. John's in the championship of that tournament on Friday. And St. John's may be pretty good with Rick Pitino. That'll be an interesting game between Baylor and St. John's. But looking at this Tennessee team this year and what I'm getting at, and I apologize, something on my screen here. Why do I even say, is this Tennessee's year? Why would I say that? Well, if you follow along with me along this time, if you haven't, I'm going to link the playlist at the end where I've talked about this team. I've talked about the portal guys who cut and who Tennessee got in the portal. I am very, very high on this portal class for Tennessee. So I want to pull up now. We're going to look at Tennessee's roster here real quick. And we'll look at their roster and we'll look at their schedule a little bit as well. So follow along with me here. If you're watching, if you're just listening, just kind of, I would say just stay with me here on it. So I do want to share my screen here. Let me pull that up. We're going to look at this roster, and I like this roster this year. So looking at Tennessee's team, here they are. So you got Chaz Lanier, 6'5", 207. Now, Chaz Lanier was the number one offensive efficient player in the country last year at North Florida. He is a super senior. He transfers in. This is his last year eligibility. If you're Rick Barnes and that staff, you had to have sold him on the Dalton Connect. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Dalton Connect. Okay? So, I guess I should hit this before. Tennessee's losses last year, of course, they lose Dalton Connect. They lose Santiago Vescovi. They lose Josiah Jordan James. All three of those guys to graduation. You lose Jonas Adu, Tobey Awaka, DJ Jefferson, Freddie Dillon. You lost all those guys to the portal. And really your big guys you missed was Jonas Adu and Tobey Awaka. You've heard my opinions on that. After that game against Purdue last year, I said point blank on that day, if Jonas Adu hits the portal, so be it. I was so discouraged with his effort against Purdue, where J.P. Estrella had to come in and bail Jonas Adu out, who was second team preseason all SEC at Arkansas. Tobey Awaka, I would have really liked to have seen him come back this year. I think he would have played a good role on this team. He played a pretty good role last year, but he went to Arizona. Don't know the reasons. I do know Tennessee wanted to keep him. I'm not so sure Tennessee fought hard to keep Jonas Adu. Maybe they did. It said, there was said he got some pretty good NIL money. I don't know that Tennessee matched that. And again, that's speculation. That's just based on what I've read. But you look at this Tennessee roster, Chaz Lanier, the only true freshman on the roster is Bishop Boswell, guard out of Charlotte, 4-star coming in. Now you get into Zakai Ziegler, first team All-SEC preseason. To me, he's going to be one of the best point guards in all of college basketball, and it's not even debatable on that. Here's a guy I'm really high on. Chaz Lanier was seen as kind of the prize of the portal class for Tennessee. Igor Milicic Jr. was a guy who played for Charlotte. He started with Virginia, transferred to Charlotte last year. He averaged around 13 points, 8 rebounds per game for Charlotte. But if you watch this dude's highlights, this is a guy, if you watch what Dalton Connect did last year, I'm not saying this dude's Dalton Connect. So please don't say don't twist my words around on this one. But this guy, he can shoot, he can pass, he can drive, he can dribble, he can rebound, he can block shots. Based on the video I've seen, there is nothing that Igor Milicic Jr. cannot do. And Rod Clark, assistant basketball coach, said in the preseason, we even ran this guy at point guard some, and said he looked pretty good at it. That's a pretty cool statement. And considering this guy's 6'10", 225, I expect he'll play the 4. Could there be any packages where they, I guess if they're going in needing points, where they play him at the 5? I've not heard on that. I think it could be a possibility. And I'll get more into that here in just a minute. Another guy I really like they got, Darling Stone Dubar. He is from Charlotte. Transferred. He started at Iowa State, transferred to Hofstra. He was ranked last year number 5 offensive efficient player in college basketball. And yes, North Florida, Hofstra, they're not SEC, ACC, or anything like that, but these guys did it even when they played good competition. So you got Dubar, who's come in 6'6", 220. I like the potential of this guy. Again, number 5 offensive efficient player in college basketball last year. And we'll put all this together for you, Tim. Jordan Gainey, he's a senior as well. This is why I've talked about with recruiting. There's going to be a lot of spots available on this team after this season. Jordan Gainey, he will be a senior. I expect it. He had some up and downs last year. He had some really good games. He had some tough games. But overall, I think he was solid. I expect he'll be even better this year. I think he'll be more consistent this year as well. Playing more possibly that 2-guard spot. He can play a little backup point guard as well. Cade Phillips was a guy, honestly, I had read speculation he may be a guy to hit the portal last year. He didn't. He come back. He put in the work. He transformed his body. The kind of stuff I've read about him has been very positive in terms of the work that he put in. That he come back, he met with the coaches how to get better and how to become a better basketball player. And I think that says a lot about him. That says a lot about guys who maybe don't get a lot of playing time like they expect. It's easy to hit the portal. Go somewhere else, get that playing time. But no, this guy decided stick around, learn from an excellent basketball staff, put in the work in the weight room, and we're going to see. I don't know what his role will be, but I expect he will play some. I think it'll be a deeper roster this year. And then you got J.P. Estrella. J.P. Estrella was thrust into action against Purdue. He did what he could, man. And, nobody could handle Zach Edey last year. They just could not. The fact that you had to rely on a freshman to come in and do it because your all-SEC junior flaked out on you. But J.P. Estrella come in, he didn't back down. He gave it what he had in that game. And I think this dude has some potential. I really do. It's showing him right now at 6'11", 250. He's put in the work. He's put on the muscle. From what I had seen, this guy can step out and shoot. So how do they play his game this year? It'll be really interesting to see on that. The most underrated dude on the roster, one of the most underrated guys in all college basketball, Jemai Mashak. He is a senior, 6'4", 202. My expectation, I'll go with my lineups here in a minute. This dude, to me, is the best defensive player in all of college basketball. Is it arguable? Sure, absolutely. There's some really good defensive teams out there. But you asked Dalton Connect last year. He said it. How did he get better? Every day, battling it out with Jemai Mashak. Iron sharpens iron. Dalton Connect was the man last year at Tennessee. Dalton Connect, if you just watched a couple nights ago in this preseason game for the Lakers against the Suns, went for 35 points. He scored 20 straight late in the game. He put on a show. Snoop Dogg has already named him West Side Connect. If you don't know what he's talking about there is an old rap group for any of you old rap people out there. West Side Connection. They were from California. It included Ice Cube, Mac 10, and I can't remember who the other guy was on it as well. West Side Connection, that's old school. Snoop Dogg called him West Side Connect. Love it. But Dalton Connect, going against Jemai Mashak every day, he said made him a much better basketball player. And you saw what he did. I love Jemai Mashak. I love what he brings. And Rick Barnes said here recently, when asked who's been his most consistent three-point shooter, he said Mashak. I said it last year on here. If this dude got more, if his role were expanded more offensively, I feel like Jemai Mashak could be a double-digit scorer. His roles, he's kind of been the guy to do the dirty work. He shut down other teams' best players, or he's at least, in terms of wings, that's who he normally gets put on. This dude has been such a valuable piece to Tennessee basketball, such an underrated, underappreciated guy down here. And the fact that he's back, he and Zakai Ziegler will be the leaders on this team this year. Now you've got into some of your walk-ons here, Duncan. Grant Hurst, the Grant Hurst connection could be vital for Lady Vols basketball because you got Lauren Hurst, who was his sister. She's a high school recruit. She's a top 50 basketball player. She's an excellent volleyball player. I'll be honest, I don't know what the chances are, how you can pull off playing both in college because they overlap. The seasons do. But Lauren Hurst was back on campus this weekend for the Lady Vols. You got to think Kim Caldwell and staff will have a good shot to do that one. But she is still interested in Clemson as well. But there's that connection here. Now you get into a couple more scholarship guys. Felix Okpara, transfer from Ohio State, comes in. What I feel he provides is that rim protector, that low post guy, not necessarily from a scoring standpoint of he's going to post guys up and have the Hakeem Olajuwon fadeaways or the sky hooks or anything like that. But he's a guy who can control the paint. He'll be more of that bruiser, more of that rebounder, more of that shot blocker that I don't feel Adu was. I don't feel Awaka was. Those guys could do some things down low. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just totally crapping on. Both guys were vital parts of both last year's basketball team, Adu and Awaka. Make no mistake about that. And they will be missed. Okpara is not going to score like Adu did, but he's going to provide them with that rim presence. His role on offense, if you've seen any of the stuff, he can dunk on guys. I have seen it said that this is Zakai Ziegler's. It's like these two were a match made in heaven. Here, there will be pick and rolls. There will be lobs, alley-oops. That's kind of what you're going to see out of Okpara, providing that low post presence that maybe Tennessee didn't have last year. And then the guy that has really gotten a lot of talk is Cameron Carr. He went to the Jason Tatum Elite Camp in the summer, showed out there. There was one outlet who's put Cameron Carr in as a potential lottery pick next year, which Rod Clark kind of pumped the brakes on that one a little bit back. This was a couple months ago, talking about the roster when they were working out, when they were doing some stuff in the summer. But they're high on Cameron Carr. They say Cameron Carr can be as good as he wants to be. This dude has potential. If you remember back last year when he was playing, the dude, I think Rick Barnes made the comment at some point. He said that Cameron Carr probably leads the nation in shot attempts per minute. The dude has not seen a shot he doesn't like, but he's got that Iceman mentality, and I love that. I'm really curious to see how much he's developed this year and what he provides to the for this team. So to me, you're looking at a 9 or 10 man deep roster on this. That's pretty good. Tennessee, of course, did not use all their scholarships. You know, counting on here, you've got Lanier Boswell, Ziegler, Milicic, Dubar, Gainey, Phillips, Estrella, Meshack, Okpara, Cameron Carr. It's 11 guys here. I don't know that you can realistically expect him to go 11 deep each game. I would expect in some of these earlier games, because we'll look at the schedule here in just a minute. Let's see, right here we go. So next Sunday, like I said, Tennessee plays Indiana 3 o'clock. House of Orange will be live directly after that to discuss the Tennessee-Indiana game. Of course, it's an off week for Tennessee football next weekend. It's a big weekend. The basketball exhibition. Tennessee baseball has 2 exhibitions next weekend, one in Jackson on Friday, one in Nashville on Saturday. I think I could have those 2 reversed. They play, who is it, Troy and Sanford, I believe it is. That'll be fun. I'll pass along anything I get on that one, as I should get some good information on that. You look here, Tennessee's actual first regular season game is Monday, November 4th. Again, next Sunday, Indiana. They'll be off pretty much the week after that. November 4th, it is a go, 7 p.m., Gardner-Webb, Thompson Bowling Arena. Louisville on Saturday at Louisville. That'll be Louisville's not ranked, but, you know, going to Louisville, tough game. And you look at it here, Montana, Austin Peay. Then they go to the Bahamas the week before Thanksgiving. UT Martin the night before Thanksgiving. And then the following week they play Syracuse at home, SEC ACC Challenge. They get a chance in Madison Square Garden again, Jimmy V Classic. That's been a house of horrors for Tennessee. They play Miami. They've got Illinois. That'll be a return game from when Illinois came to Knoxville last year. Western Carolina, Middle Tennessee, Norfolk State, and then that wraps up non-conference play, and then it is SEC play from that point forward. It's a big one with Arkansas coming to Thompson Bowling. You got to think Jonas Adu will get a nice welcome down there. And, you know, you can see along the rest of the way. They play everybody once, except for they will play Kentucky and Vanderbilt twice each. Everybody else is one time. Get Alabama, the preseason #1 in Knoxville. You're at Auburn, so and then Kentucky, you're home and home with them. Same with Vanderbilt this year as well. So it's a very manageable schedule in my opinion. But there will be teams who are probably not ranked now that'll be ranked later on. Illinois ended up being that team last year. I don't think they were ranked as high when Tennessee played them. They ended up being a high seed in the NCAA tournament. But this team, to me, my projection starting lineup, I'm looking at, of course, Ziegler running the point, Chaz Lanier to 2, Meshack at to 3, Igor Milicic Jr. to 4, Felix Akpar to 5. That's what I'm looking at for my starting lineup. I think your first guy off the bench will be Darling Stone-Dubar, Jordan Gainey, Cam Carr. You're going to have Estrella coming in. He's going to have to play that part to give Akpara some rest. I expect Cade Phillips to have more of a role. That's your 10 guys. And then, of course, Bishop Boswell. Be interesting to see if he carves out a role, carves out a niche for him, because Zakai Ziegler, you don't have a true made backup point guard on it. You don't have just that. Zakai Ziegler is a true point guard. Kennedy Chandler was a true point guard. Jordan Bone was a true point guard. Besides Zakai Ziegler, you more have these combo guard types. Chaz Lanier can run it. Jordan Gainey ran it a little bit last year. Bishop Boswell comes in as a combo guard. Jemai Meshack ran it some 2 years ago after Zakai Ziegler went out hurt. When they got to the NCAA tournament, Jemai Meshack started at the point. So they have numerous guys who can handle the ball on its offense. I mean, I mentioned earlier about Rod Clark saying Igor Milicic Jr. can run it some as well. So there's a lot of talent, man. This is a deep team. It's a versatile team. And what I like about this team, last year, it was honestly kind of Dalton Connect or bust. There were other guys, obviously, that contributed to it. You don't get where you get without Zakai Ziegler. You don't get where you get without all the contributions of different guys who took on different roles along the way. But with this team, it's not a Dalton Connect or bust. It one night may be Chaz Lanier leading you in score. I expect Chaz Lanier to be the leading scorer when it's all said and done this year for Tennessee. There will be a night, or there will be nights. It may be Zakai Ziegler. It may be Igor Milicic Jr. It may be Darling Stone-Dubar at some point. Does Cameron Carr come in and get hot one night? I mean, I think that's your popular candidates for it. Well, I'm curious to see what Jemai Meshack's offensive game is going to look like this year. I think there's a lot of potential here. I really do. And I'm excited about this team. I always like a Tennessee team ranked around where Tennessee's at right now. That seems to be the bread and butter place for them. Baseball was kind of in that 8 to 13, 14 range last year. National championship. Back in 2022, obviously Tennessee didn't win the national championship in baseball. They were in that same range with it as well. Tennessee football this year, we don't know where they're going to get to. They're going to have a good shot if they can take care of business for the most part down the stretch to play in the playoffs for a national championship. They were in that range coming in. That seems to be a sweet spot. Rick Barnes wants a national championship. Rick Barnes, while other coaches have gotten out as NIL's progressed, as the transfer portal has progressed, Rick Barnes, I've been impressed with it. I feel he's evolved. He's become more offensive. He has been, I'm not saying he's gotten the best portal class every year, but each of Tennessee's teams, baseball, basketball, and football, they're very strategic on who they bring in. They bring these guys in to see if they mesh with the team. And I really feel, based on everything that I read, that Tennessee could have had Cade Tyson. I really wish they would have gotten Cade Tyson, the Belmont transfer, who ended up going to North Carolina. Now, I could be wrong on that one. It's based on what I read that it really seemed like they kind of passed a chance on it. And I've seen some of it speculate they were concerned they would lose Cameron Carr if they got Cade Tyson. And, again, take it with a grain of salt. That's based on numerous things that I've read with it. I like the depth of this team. I like just the versatility in this team. You got numerous guys, rebounders, shot blockers. Like I said, Igor Milicic Jr. can do it all. I'm not saying he's a 20, 25-point-a-game scorer. This dude can shoot. He's an all-around basketball player. He has a very good basketball IQ. He is from, where is it? I know his dad is he's from Croatia. His dad is a professional coach overseas, he's from Croatia. His dad, I think, is a professional coach in Germany. He played some this summer overseas. This guy's going to add a lot to the team. I really like what they brought in. I feel like they hit on what they needed as far as adding scoring, adding low post presence, and adding versatility to this team. You stay injury free, this team's going to have a real chance to make a run. Their kryptonite last year was running into that big guy. That was what got them beat numerous times last year. That's going to be the key this year. Will they have, with Felix Akpara, does JP Estrella step up this year? Will they be able to defend if they get, if you play a Kansas with Hunter Dickinson, who's back for his 15th year this year, any Zach Edey types, any big, Florida's got a guy, 7'9" for crying out loud. So how do you defend against these guys this year? That was Tennessee's kryptonite last year. How have they evolved to defend that this year? Did they go out and get who they needed to take care of that? That's going to be the difference in how deep Tennessee goes. I feel like their shooting's going to be well. Their defense is going to be there. It's going to be one of the best defenses in college basketball. I feel this team's going to mesh. It's going to be an exciting year on Rocky Top for Tennessee basketball and Rick Barnes. Is this Rick Barnes' best shot at a national championship this year? I think that's a tough question to answer because he's had some pretty good teams. I go back to the Grant and Schofield team in 2019, which was a really good team. To me, though, I feel like this is maybe the most well-rounded team that Rick Barnes has had since he's been on campus. Buckle up, guys. It starts next Sunday. Exhibition game, 3 o'clock, SEC Network Plus against Indiana. Around 5 o'clock right after, House of Orange will be live. We'll discuss it. That's going to be our game. Basketball, baseball along the way. If you want the best coverage there is on YouTube, it's right here. I'm not an insider, but I can promise you we're going to be thorough. We're going to be to the point on it. So I hope you'll tune in here for when there is basketball, when there is baseball coverage, because we will be the best. I promise you on that one. But I'm going to wrap up on that one. I hope you've stayed with me up to this point. I feel this has been very thorough, very informative as what we've got coming in this year. Again, if you've not checked out the channel or whatever, hit that like button. Share it out. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button as well. Membership tier. I've got the membership tiers on here as well. As I build this as well, that builds to exclusive content. You can get custom badges and emojis. As we go forward to tiered benefits, I can get that out. Community shout out to members as well. Members only videos, members only live chats, or member only live shows that we can do stuff. Member only videos, can bring some of the members on. We can discuss some topics. That's something I would like to do. Not necessarily in a live show format, but in like a town hall panel, kind of a panel-like format. That's my goal on it once we get a little higher up with membership. So there's those 3 tiers there. If you just want to throw $1 a month towards the channel, all this stuff, it does go to support the channel. It does go to help provide you with the coverage that you want on it as well. And then there is the super thanks button as well. Bottom right-hand corner, if you just want to say, hey, here's the super thanks, those are greatly appreciated as well. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday evening. We will be live tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Our regular House of Orange live Monday show. We'll talk the Alabama game. I'm sure that'll take up a lot of the time. We may talk a little basketball. We'll just see where it goes along the way. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And last but most certainly not least, go Vols.